narrative. All of your ideologies are imported and implemented. And the question is, whose ideologies are these? So, if you parties in Ankasaswa, between say party me and NPP and NDC, ideological no omudi ebu o mine Ankasampono, and umpono ye ko importing ye debaye. Na rehuma sa o mine bi to say Ghana we ya. Ye did Ghana way esi was say ye the beacon of democracy, gateway to Africa, and another rest ne the asama to. Show the NPP believes in the ideologicals as that of they call say they believe in the competitive capitalist economy. Yes, sir. Then the NDC also believes in what? They are socialist inclined. Now be some say no. Mumu believe in the offense and capitalist economy. When I'm saying offense and socialist ideologicals. Mumie no mukofa we. That the question now remains here. Why can't you own your own narrative? Why can't you have your own narrative? What is wrong with these people? Say, why can't you own your own narrative? Have your own narrative. And my own narrative in Ebedian. Ibisamo. If you are to own your narrative to ensure, say, your nation Ghana develops, what will be your narrative? Devoid of your competitive capitalist economy ideologicals and that of the socialism. You are implementing ideologicals and philosophies that you have no idea where, how, where, and who formed it and why. Yet you are practicing it. And on top of it, practicing and more practicing, you are even not practicing it properly. You see, you can only say this is a lost nation. A lost nation. You see, it's so sad. Now, what dream what the other kind say reasons need be saying. This is the reason why the Bretton Woods institutions continue to pound the leadership in Africa with all sorts of what? Useless what? Conditionalities. So, what wa? Yet wa? Bibi nkasa say we have now amai no mugu no obia woni so de when yankopon nim sabe said you see bo wiase no wo bo wiase no e no de Ghana ebe share the middle of the world. So we are located at the epicenter of the world. Are we not? We are located at the epicenter. Onyankopon de ye de amayen e no de ye no baye wo de ye gudie any bibia or the man or say mo ye Ghanaians mo ye within the African region monye munkomanim. Now be say what is wrong with the leadership of Africa? Say what Africa? Then you go and borrow somebody living somewhere in the Western world. Say he is practicing what you call capitalism. Then somebody also from the Far East also practicing what you call socialism. Now momuti African to create a narrative. Can't we do our own? Can't we own our narrative? Can't we? Metiasia mintiasio. And today biano, the ya say as a CS na omanya wo be biara Onyankopon diamano. No we genuine go because of them. Omana wubuo no eyobi enso wano e no de ama se febu woman nyansa was asem we mu ibisamo. Now on top of this ni na mpono still within the country no between us as a nation no yentimi trusting country who say no we need how many infrastructures in all of this omaya team. Therefore NPP NDC mumien trust it yeah trust no mumien develop it a policy structure that will reflect national in character. Say, Samomoba between period na mubedino 4 years to 8 years no. Mobeye national in character ekodrum pempen so say the mubetun monye na munya ho. When musuba no musuba say no And yet, a friend is saying, manifesto near the Debbie, let's go for the friend is saying, the blueprint and look at the blueprint and execute it. Now, when you execute the blueprints now, according to how it was written now, it will help all of us now to be able to identify them. These two parties way and now parties who are more Ghana. Who among these parties way and will develop your mind? But when you bring your manifesto, now more trouble manifesto Ghanaians ordinarily become confused. Say, Omani mu develop it and I mu develop it. Because how many Ghanaians will keep tracking of your political party manifestos? How many Ghanaians? How many would just say, why no what that GSF mu manifesto no walk off the between na na pay we na adwene walk? How? But when we have a blueprint a reflecting national in character, then we be who say obi abekwa kofa sa blueprint way. No one can kind no one will say, hey, the whole Ghana no. You hear hospital hospitals Kwaku 20. NPP buy no. One man is saying, one man ye ebia miensa. NDC buy no almost why saying, one man ye mienu, ni ye na ni ye keep it track near say party ben will deliver. There be where antisa. You are building this nation based on your party manifestos, which of course doesn't make sense to anybody. 32 years and you continue to perpetuate this stupidity on our minds, and you think say you are developing this country. And Ghanaians, we are all sitting there quiet. Now guess what? On the basis of the so-called useless manifestos now, that is why between NPP and NDC, I feel me train for Nibia Chona, Munchen for Nini. Do say, when you left us this debt. Where so bad, or say you left us this debt. Where is Ujaka way in a tour? Where is Uja way in a tour? They keep blaming themselves back to back, and they don't care how much they will keep this blame game across the social media, across our radio stations and our television, morning, afternoon, evening, continuously until the government will end administration. Ninara is because of what? We are like a lost nation. Because manifestos no one. You and I don't even know where manifestos no crown baby omodi akoshe. And obia so need times so akoshe sa manifesto nim say na momu ka asem be we na man ye no, but no, why no what's that no? But when you craft a blueprint ekuta national in character and then Ghana ni bia nim say hey enye manifesto asem, it's about omino infrastructure ye hwehwe say ye pe no do was saying and ye go krata so do was saying NPP for mobile mo ye do was saying NDC for mobile mo ye. Forget about your manifestos. Mo say muntimi enye ne sa no nti we no ba we no see ye kwasenchi we no ba we no see ye tena ha and some basa on my back, small nation, Ghana, a small country like it's like a dot on the whole global map, and yet 32 years we seem incapable of reversing the trend and do the right thing. So, and Obio Bebiano, and so called IMF, each one of you, NDC, NPP, each one of you, just say you have no option than say Esemukura IMF. Nentanya Krano. Monfa former and late flight lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings na breso monfa nye example. Oh yeah. Oho enne ye the mark me de be ma mo say nche se mo de hwede example nanso enya de amuhu de eko. No. Rawlings abreso. What the IMF did to Rawlings. So now utran we bisa say if we have a blueprint that reflects national in character. And you may be by this time, she has just say you are stopping in area data, and we begin to think as a nation and develop this nation properly, devoid of political undertones and all the political silver liners now. At this time, so and to any one was say when John Dramani Mahama Eba no be presented the true state of the nation. I didn't bet him NPP for so country. I said no, we are also coming to present another true state of the nation address. And who free him from? Now, just the attempt of you guys to deceive us, as I say, this small country, Ghana is one in a kroba, it will be memo. Ghana, your whole Ekrobako in Nigeria, as far as Nigeria could say, 36 federal states. Yeah, just like a one state before them. And the question is here, a dear pa na mo ye o memha with our two eyes, we cannot see what NPP is doing, we cannot see what NDC is doing, and yet the more yana say you flood across the media space, and what you continue to do is to tell lies and throw and nadia akotrisam and in abrabasam sikadie ni medie ni basa basa and amoye wo manim and some funkwa. Okay, within this short, Memphis barely 2 months, John Mahama take administration. Yeah, Kasangwa. Na mimi ni musa forums nini. We, the Masha say John Mahama, ama muye o we. Look, kwana kwasha adie. Intellectuals na fladu who say Professor Dr. Emeritus Wine. Some basa just a nyansa ba kukreni. Me say I dare every Ghanaian by the close of this economic reform. Musha dia be said they be free. It's the same old story. The same old story. Nothing. The same old story. Muhu wa munshenda. And I may hear reference. Munko had the IMF for the year Rawlings. When Rawlings took over, right after the overthrow of Wine, Dr. Hilary Liman. Rawlings handled this country all close to the same period of Liman. Then before Rawlings could say Jack, the economy of Ghana has hit the iceberg, not the tip of it, that we need a life oxygen to survive. This same IMF were just hanging there. They told him, hey boy, you know what? What you have to do will be to embark upon what? Economic recovery program. And the essence of this will be to lay a foundation of a productive, sustainable, efficient economy, clarifying the prospect of the wealth creation in the nation under the period of what? Stabilization from 87 to 89, and as you would then structural adjustment and development. Period. They introduced all kinds of nonsense economic policies before Rawlings. They've been saying the PAMS card, UNDP, Global 2000, and whatnot. You can count it beyond. And what happened? Nothing. And so, they again told Rawlings to embark upon what? Restructuring through political liberalization. And where they ensured, say, elections for district assemblies were held in 1988 and 89, followed by the appointment of committee of experts and consultative assembly to draft the constitution of the Fourth Republic. And by then, the national referendum of April 1992, which approved the constitution by overwhelming majority. What was to be the crowning event was the presidential elections in December 1992, followed shortly by parliamentary elections. What is striking in this process is the effort by Rawlings to strengthen his claim to domestic and international legitimacy, whilst at the same time managing the process in such a way as to ensure the continual PNDC control. Rawlings knew them very well, so he was smart. But I tell you, Enuni and the 1992 Constitution way, which again we find it more questionable than any document in this country. But I tell you what, the Bretton Woods institution knew Rawlings said they want to hoist the Rawlings government from power, and Rawlings was very smart. So whilst Rawlings was adhering to their principles of ensuring good governance, he was also at the back keeping tracking with the likes of one Captain Kojochi Katanam, who before the Bretton Woods institutions have taken steps to ensure what? Economic reforms and national reforms, institutional reforms, including the establishment of the defunct BNI and other state agencies. But then, the Bretton Woods institutions have tried severally to hoist the Rawlings government from power, and they failed, including using their own what? The CIA. The US Marines have doctored across our coastal lines, and they were ready to pounce in, but Rawlings was smart. And Rawlings' administration remained the only administration in this country faced several coup d'etats and yet survived, including economic coup d'etat, including sending economic hitmen to destroy Ghana's economy. What about you people? What about you people? Momo Diane said, Mutiho. And you see, when the Western world are playing the game with African leaders, the African leaders sit there like zombies and like little boys and little children sitting in the sun playing. Common sense, they don't have it. They ain't got sense. The leadership in Africa, including Ghana, got no sense. They are minimally borrowing, and chopping the money, and using the money to buy luxurious cars, using the money to buy what? Homes all over. Mudi tutofie, ni cars, ni medie ka ho. Siasam kwa. We are now come on all useless kind of workshop. Kwa the omo conference center. Professor Dr. Omutito. 2 days, no be DC. They are not going to produce any proper blueprint for John Mahama. Said this is what we have. What Ghana is not me bow. Ghana economy is saying. The Ghanaian economy, Messiah is saying, is Ghanaian economy bigger than South Korea? Is our economy bigger than Singapore? Is our economy bigger than what? Malaysia? That we are, pay? Oh, come on, Munyai. Some things doesn't make sense to me. We've come too far that we need to depart from this, what I call the dependency syndrome. It's too much. Maybe 1992 constitution, and now all your so-called municipal district assemblies have become useless. All of them depend on the central government for survival. So the true state of the nation, maybe yatro now what I say Ghana pioneer. Into where just say in the era of Rawlings, now betinyan in them chrome, I nema basabasa. But under mu constitution, amudi a friend say, a memory a mumu to a mubu NPP ni NDC. Me fan say after a ye, she said the chronumaya basa. Just say law and order is broken. Obi aye di ope. Folks, mindile, my men presented the true state of the nation. Me fan na she say eye ofen eye oda. This is how Ghana we've reduced ourselves to. Yare adokre di entia because adwini we enye adwuma. Eye nyoma basabasa say ye ni hwefo. Take a listen to this. Hwedia.
Na we swear. Hey, katemono no. Na nam so na sinche no. Over. Na you. Hey, market. Yeah, Ghana. Ready.
Right? The true state no. Simon. Ye bra ye boni na nya papa. Na mu wie nso a we chini na no. Ensori twa mukro ni na mu ahia. Na obetia akoye we wo Singapore, sesen. Obetia akoye we wo Malaysia, sesen. Obetia akoye we wo South Korea, and obetia akoye we wo Dubai hey. Can you? You can't. This is how useless you've subjected your country to.